These two singers have always had it to my ears, and I know to a lot of other people's ears as well. For the longest time, I wasn't sure what it was. Was it just that they were really talented, or that's just the way they sounded? Or did they have something or know something that I simply didn't know, but could also be a part of if I just looked in the right place or did the right thing? It seemed like a secret. And it was bigger than just charisma or showmanship. Their voices were so much more interesting than mine. It wasn't necessarily that they could hit notes that I couldn't hit. It wasn't necessarily that they were singing songs that I couldn't sing. But there was these two singers and me. Boring. Striving. Trying to be something I wasn't. They were larger than life to me, and their voices reflected that in a way I couldn't quite comprehend. And then I heard the album Love from a band called the Juliana Theory, singer Brett Detar. Love was an interesting album. They had transitioned from sort of an indie presence, indie label, into major label, and the production was quite a bit different on Love than it was on their previous albums. When Love came out, and I heard Brett's vocal transformation, and then equated that to what I was hearing in My Chemical Romance and Queen, something clicked. Congratulations, you can change. Sometimes when lying on your back, you learn to breathe again. He was pretty much hitting all the same notes, but there was this arc to the way he sang. It's like each note had a completion and an expression and a character of their own. Each note mattered. Each note had its own little world. That was what I noticed about Freddie Mercury and Gerard Way. That was it in terms of what their voices did that mine didn't. I began to see that my voice was more like pre-Love, the Juliana Theory, and their voices was way more like Love. You see, Freddie Mercury and Gerard Way aren't simply singing lines. They aren't simply singing melodies. They aren't simply singing songs. And they aren't simply just being characters. Those are all part of what they're doing. But there's this sense that each note they sing matters and carries this weight with it that a lot of other singers don't have attached to each note. So I started taking one word, one note, and just seeing how many different ways I could attach meaning and weight to that one note with that one word. No other context except for what I was doing with my voice. It was so cool and so freeing. And then I started taking short phrases and assigning meaning and weight and character to each word in the phrase. Nothing long, 3 words maybe. Sticking with the same notes and just experimenting with how I could place things, how I could deliver, what sort of different techniques, what sort of different emotions I could convey over each word in the phrase. I'm still here. I'm still here. After a little bit of practice and a little bit of non-judgmental experimentation, I began to sense that same sort of engagement and interest and pull out of my own voice that I was hearing in my favorite singers, Gerard Way and Freddie Mercury. Each note that I would sing would have its own little world to be explored, its own little meaning, its own little journey that I could take the listener on. And as I started to sing melody lines with this approach, that each note counts. It's not just part of a bigger picture, but it's a unique being in the big picture of the melody. My singing and my expressiveness took off. It became like this wildfire, and I became so expressive and so excited to do new recordings and create new melodies. But sometimes I'd get frustrated with myself because I'd sink back into old habits of simply trying to learn a melody and deliver it, or write a melody and deliver it. And that's why I developed these sort of mindsets and exercises that you can watch in this video.